Our next song is a very, very important one. This song is one of the best ones that I think I've done. This is called I'm Going Down That Lonesome Road, But I Won't Be Treated This Way. In other words, you have a protest song without the violence or hatred that so many of us have with each other. In my mind's eye, I see this slave young man, about the age of you young men. His job in the late afternoon, after he works all day, is to go down in the pasture and get the cows. This plantation has about 8 cows, so he has to find these cows. He's walking down this lonely road, and he has a little dog to help him to get the cows out of the bush. So he's walking along there, and as he walks, he's thinking about this situation of slavery. And he says to himself, well, now here I am, a slave. I'm 18 years old, and I've never been 100 yards away from this plantation. And my mother is the cook at the big house, and she was born on this plantation. Her mother is just being retired from work, and her mother was captured in Ghana and brought to this country. So 4 generations of us have given our whole lives for nothing on this plantation. As I came this morning, as I was going out into the field, I passed by my master and some of his friends, and they were talking about that lady that stands in the harbor up in New York, saying to all Europe, give me your poor, your downtrodden, your disadvantaged, and I will give you an opportunity to make good in this country, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where all men are created equal. And 4 generations of us have lived here for nothing and given our lives for nothing. Now I know that in this Christian country, we claim founded on Christian principles, that this condition will not exist forever, and so that I won't be treated this way, he says, using dialect. But I know that these conditions will not exist forever. And so he goes on down, and we start the song slowly. He's playing a harmonica as he goes on down the road, and then as he fades on into the sunset, we can still just hear him playing in his harmonica. I'm going down that lonesome road. I'm going down that lonesome road. I'm going down that lonesome road. But I won't be treated this way. I won't see my baby no more, no more. No, I won't see my baby no more. Sing it, young people. Said I won't see my baby no more, no more. But I won't be treated this way. Scrapes on my bed done broken down. Said them scrapes on my bed done broken down. Said them scrapes on my bed done broken down. But I won't be treated this way, this way. This song that we're doing now is a very important song. This is one of the most beautiful of the true spirituals. Many people think of the songs of the slaves, all as spirituals. As we've had work songs, play songs, ghost stories, so forth. But now here's a religious spiritual that could have been used to advantage in the church service. The minister, for instance, is trying to, the minister and some of the deacons and deaconesses in church are trying to persuade a young Christian to come into the fellowship of Jesus Christ. And they say to this person, don't be weary, traveler. Come along home to Jesus. You see, they had what they called the mourner's bench in the early church. I'm talking about the middle of the 18th century, 1750, 1755. The white Baptists and the white Methodists had the mourner's bench. That was a bench where the sinners came up to. Everybody in the communities knew who the sinners were in the small community. Some lady's husband or some man's wife was a sinner. So they tried to get them to sit up here at the mourner's bench. They're sitting down here at the mourner's bench, and then one of the older Christians come up and say, now, don't you be weary, honey. Trying to persuade him, come along home to Jesus. Then she says, when I was a sinner just like you, I prayed and prayed till I come through. Till she got religion, you see. And so don't be weary, traveler. Come along home to Jesus. This was a song that grew up after the early Africans came over. Theirs was more on the rhythmic side, you see. This song, I'm sure, grew up about 100 years after we were here, where we began to listen to the music of our master in the Methodist and the Baptist churches, and we began to make long melodic passages in our songs, you see. But our earliest songs were more rhythmic, such as we had in Africa, because music as an art form to the Africans was rhythm, where music to the Europeans was melody, you see. So when we came over here, most of our songs were in our own culture very, very fast. The longer we stayed, the more we forgot our culture and began to work with the culture of our masters, you see. And so we get a beautiful, long, melodic line, don't be weary, traveler, come along home to Jesus.
Don't be